Hello, my name is Francisco Arce, and I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs at El Camino College. And this program is about the effective strategies for student success in a music major. Today I have two guests with me, and first Dr. Polly Chambers Salazar and Dr. Joanna Medawar-Nashef, both music instructors, professors in the El Camino music program. With the increasing concern in the educational support for the arts and for music programs, I felt it was very important to have a special program on music and learning to be a music student, music major, preparing for transfer, and exploring all of the possibilities. So why don't we just get started then and ask these professors a few questions about being a music major at El Camino College. So, either one of you, what advice do you give a student who tells you, I'm interested in a music major at El Camino?
What we are thrilled about is that our program here at El Camino College is quite focused on the success of a student when they choose to take the path of music. Because we've provided for them a path where they can take these classes that will prepare them to transfer to some of the best schools, whether in the area or all across the nation. We help them and guide them with selections of courses, and they will receive individual attention. We have programs that will give them the chance to hone and refine their craft if they've already have been preparing for years to play an instrument or sing. We offer them even more focused attention, one-on-one, with programs like our very successful applied program. Don't you agree, Polly?
Absolutely. And I think we also cater to a wide range of students. We have everything from students who have no musical background at all, that are taking music classes for the first time, to students that have been studying for their entire lives. And I think we have classes that are suitable for all of those areas. Everything from music appreciation, which is a very popular class here at El Camino College, to, as Dr. Nashef mentioned, the applied program, which is really catering more to people that are more specialized in their areas of instruction and their instruments.
And we also can help them perhaps focus on one area of the music that they're interested in, and they can already declare that and start working towards that goal. And it is always encouraged that they can try all aspects of it here at El Camino College, where the cost is most affordable. It is a fraction of the cost that they have to pay somewhere else, and it will prepare them just as well as perhaps going to a four-year university, because we seek excellence and we help them work towards that goal.
And what kinds of music programs do we have within the major? What do we offer?
Well, we offer performance majors, so you can major specifically in performance on an instrument. For example, I'm a piano professor here, so I have students that are majoring in piano and looking to transfer to four-year colleges in a performance major. We also have students that are perhaps more interested in the education side, so they can look at that direction as they leave the college. We have all different instruments, a wide range of instrumental focuses. And again, as I said, we also have classes that cater to people that are not necessarily planning on becoming a music major. So there's really a wide range that really caters to everyone. For people that are focusing on a specific instrument, one of the things that they will be doing when they leave, many times they will be auditioning for orchestras at some point. So we have a wide range of ensembles, not only orchestras, but also many choral ensembles led by Dr. Nashef. And the students get many opportunities to perform in settings similar to that which they would be doing in the professional world.
And we can, like we said, mentioning all the instruments, voice is certainly emphasized, and we have many classes that prepare you. Perhaps you are interested in auditioning, like some of our students, for the television shows, whether it is American Idol or America's Got Talent or the X Factor or The Voice. Our students here can be prepared to do something like that. And if you choose to become more interested in choral music, you can do that and work on developing your skill as a conductor. And you know, it can prepare you in every field of interest: jazz, guitar, any of these fields are well prepared, and we have excellent faculty that will help you hopefully prepare for the next stage.
Yes, and you know how some students who have an interest in the music major will also perhaps double major,
Yes.
maybe a business major and a music major. Do you have very many students that have indicated that kind of interest?
Yeah, I definitely have students that feel as if they must be practical and they have to look to what happens outside of college. So for example, I have a few people that have come through my classes that have majored in accounting and music.
Yes.
I've had a few people also that started out as engineering majors and they ended up actually switching to music, which I thought was very interesting. We've got some interesting combinations of areas there. But I would recommend if they're going to be a music major at some point, they're going to have to focus on that area because contrary to some popular beliefs, it's actually a very challenging major that takes many, many hours, not only in terms of studying, but if you're choosing to be an instrumental major or a music education major, you have to have mastery over different musical instruments or voice, which takes hours and hours outside of the classroom. And sometimes I'm not sure people are aware of how much time it takes, their own time, in addition to what's being spent in the classroom and what's being spent in front of a book.
So what do you estimate, if I'm a music major, how much time out of the classroom does it take for me to be a really successful music major?
If you're in the applied program and you're receiving private lessons that the state pays for, you are required to be in a class that is specifically to perform for other classmates with a professor, moderating all of that. And then you will take your hour that is with the private instructor. You are required to practice on campus in the practice rooms around 6.5 hours a week. Then you have to belong to an ensemble where you also use your gift to be able to work with a team and develop your skills in all aspects of music. So we're looking at, what do you think, at least 10 hours for that one unit of private instruction that is connected with other parts of the program. And so this is really helping you refine and hone your skill as an instrumentalist or vocalist.
And I have to say too, there's also many times a certain amount of hours that have to be put in even before entering the applied program.
Yes.
I have an example of a student who started with me when I started here in 2008, and he started out as a beginning level pianist, and he took every level of class piano instruction and eventually auditioned for the applied program, which he is in now, and he's getting ready to audition for four-year schools as a piano performance major. Now he's an outlier, he's an exceptional student, but my point is that it took him many, many hours outside of the classroom when he was taking beginning piano, intermediate piano, advanced piano, because he was highly motivated. So he was probably spending more like 25 hours a week of additional practice time in the practice rooms in order to prepare for that. So
along with that, we encourage them to take all of the classes that help with the path of transferring. So we would want them to take, if they've never had fundamentals or theory, all its 3 levels, and music history. These are crucial for a requirement where you transfer to a 4-year. So that's additional classes that you will take that would require a lot of your time as well.
And so to summarize then, some important strategies for students to be successful in a music program are?
I think intense focus. I think intense self-discipline. I think planning in terms of their own schedule and their practice time. When I have students that I work with privately, my applied students, I encourage them to set out a schedule. I have to look at their schedule and say, okay, where are you going to fit in the practice time? They actually have to be in many ways more self-motivated than a student who's in some of the other majors, because again, they're responsible for the same number of classes as everyone else, but yet they have that separate time that's going to be spent practicing. So I think all of those, a huge amount of self-discipline. And I mean, we're leaving out something that I think is really crucial here. They better love it. I mean, I always say to people, if you have any interest in doing anything else, if you can imagine yourself doing something else, do it. Because this is not an easy path. However, I can't imagine a more rewarding path.
Yes.
And so if they have that intense drive and that passion, I've seen people light up with the passion of finding that this is the area that they want to go into. Like I mentioned an engineering major. I had a student in my piano classes that was actually very gifted pianist, but she was an engineering major because she was being told that it was more practical, which I understand, but she loved it so much. And I could just see the internal struggle with her. And eventually she got to the point where she made that choice. She said, I've got to do this. And now she's successfully studying music. She's actually transferred to Loyola. So too. She's a piano major.
So if a student wants to work, is that possible while they're in the major?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I worked, you know, I mean, I think that it's definitely possible. You have to do what you have to do. It just means that maybe you're not sleeping as much as you might want to be, and you're spending a lot of time working. I mean, I have memories definitely of me studying and practicing while everybody else was doing other things. But that's, if you love something enough, then it's worth that.
Well, I discover in my choral classes, when I have that concert choir made up of students from all disciplines of this campus, and you discover that they finally realize how musicians have that passion that wakes them up every morning or gives them the desire to stay up all night, because this is something you are so immersed in, and you realize that that reward may not come immediately, that delayed gratification maybe sometime down the line. But I have to, what I encourage my students to really plan is, this is my goal, this is where I'd like to be in 4 years, or this is where I'd like to be in 5 years. So I'm going to be determined, disciplined, and realize that perseverance sometimes is painful, but it is rewarding. And it's going to be one day so rewarding that you would look back and say, I appreciate all the sacrifices I've made. But it does take a lot of work that's really worthwhile.
I think it's really important for them to network and have and make contacts with their fellow students, their fellow instrumentalists, and their professors. I think those are invaluable, especially in terms of getting into the professional world. I know that my first job I got as a result of a connection with a teacher, so a professor at the college that I was studying at. So I think that those types of things are really, really important. And I think sometimes musicians in particular become so focused on the practicing element, and they become very, you know, internal and sort of isolated. And many of the most successful chamber music groups, choral groups, come out of these collaborations that have happened in college, and people get jobs because of the connections that they've made with their professors and their fellow students in college.
As the students are evolving, what kind of opportunities do they have to experience growth, to experience being in concerts and performing outside of the college, in the college?
This is what I think sometimes our students here realize, that they will be given the opportunity to listen to the professors that they're in with, that perhaps can guide them and inspire them and open their eyes to opportunities they may never had looked upon. With my choral groups, we would discover that most of the applied music students have to be in the ensembles. And so we have numerous opportunities that we have offered them that they will receive at a university level, and sometimes they may not. So I would be really pleased to always say to the student, you will have an opportunity to perform at the most prestigious hall in the world, Carnegie Hall. Our El Camino students have gone many times to perform with other choirs. We have had opportunities for them to perform with some very important names like Andrea Bocelli at the MGM. The El Camino Chorale was the choir supporting him in that beautiful, and 18,000 in attendance, and they did it so well. At the House of Blues, we have had the chance to perform locally for City Hall, and then we go on tours. We've gone to Hawaii, we've gone to many other cities. We perform at the MAC conferences. This is the Music Association of Community Colleges of California, where other classmates from other colleges meet and work with a very important adjudicator from university level. And then participate in festivals at those prestigious schools where the faculty get to see the product of our work. And so they develop connections. We help them realize that they can have auditions when they go to these festivals, and that's how they can really become part of the school over there.
Do you believe that a music major, a successful music major, translates into a successful major in any other discipline in life? Does it make you a better person?
Oh, of course we're going to say that. Of course.
I was just testing you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, the qualities that you need to be a successful music major will transcend, any area of expertise. And I know of people that have done the opposite, that have started out as music majors or gotten degrees in music and then gone into other fields. But they still talk about their experiences with music and even still play the piano. And those kinds of qualities, self-discipline, intense focus, self-sacrifice, delayed gratification, And I think also you have to look at just the qualities that music gives you in terms of enhancing your own mental skills. I mean, there's a lot of evidence showing that music actually plays a big role in terms of how our brain is formed. And it can influence you at a very young age and also as adults. There was a very interesting study done at UC Irvine a few years ago where they took some psychology students and they had a group of them take a spatial intelligence test after listening to Mozart's Sonata in D major. And they took the test before and they took the test after. And it was his Sonata for two pianos in D major. And they scored 8 to 9 points higher after listening to the piece. Now, it was a temporary effect, but this still showed them that there was a very strong linkage between spatial intelligence and music. And this led, of course, to more research, which is still ongoing. And there's many studies that can be cited in terms of the linkages between music and different types of intelligence, in terms of fine motor control, in terms of coordination and memory, all of these things. So this enhances, many different fields. That's why there's so many strong linkages between, for example, music and science. There are doctors' orchestras. A close friend of mine that I grew up with, her father started out as a violinist, and he was on a path to become a concert violinist and possibly play with an orchestra. And he ended up going into medicine, and he's now the chief of anesthesiology at the University of Washington. But he was a perfect example, and he's still has that connection to the violin. And Caltech is another school. They have a very strong music program. So there's all of these crossover skills and orientations that music helps with. Absolutely.
And I'll add to that, I conduct a community chorus of this area, and I've been their conductor for 21 years. We have 75 in the group. All of them come from all varied vocations, from lawyers to engineers to, doctors, pastors, teachers. Some are music directors in churches. And they all have chosen to be in this community chorus on a Tuesday night because it brings them such pleasure to work together and to really create something bigger than all of us that can reach out to the community. And they have the desire to give back, not only through music, but to develop scholarships and help the next generation, which shows you right there that music is integral for every human being to be complete in their journey.
Right. What if I'm not a music major, but I want to take a couple of courses, a chorale course or an instrument class? I mean, am I going to be welcome in this program? Because it sounds like
Absolutely.
It's very intense.
So we have, and Polly will agree, all ages in our classes. And I think it's a wealth because here comes the 18-year-old from high school sitting next to a member of the community who's returned just for their own enrichment and their own joy. And they're going to see that the focus of the older student may rub off on them, and they'll discover that they're in there because they want to be in there. And they're not being pushed by a parent to go get an education. You could see that brings such diversity, and then you also discover, because of what we have here, a salad bowl, not a melting pot. We're a salad bowl because every individual is important. They bring something special. With ethnicities and diverse backgrounds and races, they sit together and learn from each other and benefit from each other's drive, experiences, and cultural diversity.
Great point. And on that note, I want to interview some El Camino College music students and get their perspective and their experience on how they did while they were studying music at El Camino College. What motivated you to become a student in opera?
Well, I've been singing since the age of 5, and just the influence that I had in church, singing in church, and then seeing all my fellow classmates that were taking music classes, such as choir and vocal class, and that just inspired me. And I took also a music fundamentals with Dr. Hurd, and I think that's what made me drive more into it and being more involved in it. I think what I've enjoyed the most is just getting to know my classmates, sharing my talent with theirs and putting it together and creating I guess you can say something undescribable that I can't really have words for it. It's just an amazing feeling to be able to do that, as well as, get to know my teachers better and them helping me out in the different areas, whether it was theory, whether it was voice class, or applied, and listening to the opinions of my fellow classmates. That definitely was an inspiration.
What I love most about being a student here at the El Camino Music Program is the involvement and the activities that they provide for us, the enrichment. I've benefited in so many different ways, culturally, academically, and socially, even athletically. Like, I have to work out to be able to sit up at the piano, so.
That's great. And what advice do you have for other students, Todd?
To dig in. Music is seen as a program that's less academic, and it's not, to me, in my personal opinion, it doesn't hold the legitimacy as maybe another science or art does. So it's our responsibility to prove that it's a valuable academic course here at El Camino.
I decided to become a music major at El Camino College because music has always been like my favorite hobby since middle school, and I just always feel so passionate about music, and when I have a career I want it to be something I'm happy with. Music is that thing. I feel that the teachers here definitely go above and beyond because they want to see their students succeed, and they teach you basically everything you need to know, and from what I've heard from other students, they teach us even more than we need to know, so we're even better prepared.
What about for transfer? What kind of relationships do you have with the universities for our students to find a smooth pathway for transfer into a music major, if that's what they desire?
Absolutely, and I actually think that that's really, really key for us to have those relationships. And I definitely have cultivated friendships and relationships with professors of music at different local universities. So that when somebody goes and, for example, I have a student right now who's going through the audition process as a piano performance major, and she's auditioning at many places. And I've told her and I've encouraged her that she needs to make the initial contact with actually the person that she wants to study with privately, so that they are aware of the fact that she's interested in them. Then I've also made the contact myself. So yeah, absolutely.
I make an effort, like you just mentioned. We are very much, as a faculty, connected with each other. In fact, the majority of us are graduates of USC. We're proud to say that. And yet we make an effort to bring many of our colleagues from different universities to come. And that's when the student discovers, wow, I get these marvelous experiences right here on this campus, and I don't have to pay the expensive, tuition to get that.
Sure.
And as Dr. Natshev mentioned, we also have professors coming from different universities to give master classes.
Yes.
Like we have regular piano master classes, at least one every semester. I actually think this spring we're having 2. So that's also an opportunity for them to meet and play for somebody from a local university, and they get a chance to kind of see how they teach and what their teaching style is, and to make those connections. And then it makes it easier when they go through that audition process as well.
And we ourselves are performing, and we include our students in all of our performances, so they see us not only teaching them how to do it, but actually doing it, and doing it well.
Exactly, that's wonderful. And if a student is pursuing, let's say, an AA degree so that they can transfer, their major is music, I mean, do you encourage them to get the other general education requirements out of the way first, or do it simultaneously while they're in the music program? What are your thoughts about that?
I would recommend doing it simultaneously
I
because
agree.
I don't think you can hold back with starting with the music classes. There's just too much to do. Many students, for example, come in with ability in a certain area. For example, they might sing really well,
Yes.
or play an instrument very well, but they cannot, for example, read music. And this is more common than you might think. And this is something that shouldn't necessarily stop somebody. There are many very talented people who fall into this category. So they should right away take Music 1, Music Fundamentals, because that's the one that's going to set them on the path. They have to take that as a prerequisite for all of the music theory courses. And I have an example of one person that took Music 1, and we were talking about auditioning for shows, and she had auditioned a few years ago for Dancing with the Stars as a singer, as a backup singer. And she's an amazing singer, and they said, you would have gotten the job, but you don't read music. So that started her on her journey to come here, because she's actually a successful singer, she's a composer, she's a music director for a church, but at that time she wasn't able to read music. So now she is. She's actually working and studying at Loyola now. She's completing a degree there. She's just about done. But she started here without any knowledge of how to do that. And the amazing thing that happened during that process, she was actually leading a choir. So as she was learning the information in Music 1, how to read music, how to count rhythms, et cetera, she was teaching it to her choir, many of whom also had that same situation that she did.
So they're carrying it forward, in what they actually do on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
And we discover that, you know, many of them need to be doing this simultaneously because we want to see them follow a path and finish a degree and really feel that they have accomplished that first step and can go further. Because these days, you do need to have that piece of paper to be a little bit more, you know, on the cutting edge when you are out there getting a job. So I recommend taking the GEs and all the music classes and make school your job. Make it your commitment, because what we learn, what we hope to teach them here at El Camino about life, not only about their discipline or just following, you know, studying that subject or the topic in class, but realizing that you have to take your life seriously and make something out of it. And that's hopefully what they will get.
Excellent message. As you can see, our professors are very passionate. They exude passion, and this is what you will get at El Camino College in the music program. You will get instruction from faculty members who are deeply committed to what they believe and what they practice, but also who care about students. I think this is what distinguishes El Camino from, let's say, the four-year university. Not to disparage the university, of course, but you're in a smaller setting with less students and a faculty member who is a professional in their field and a professional educator. And this is a great opportunity for students to learn directly from a faculty member rather than a teaching assistant. And the community college has so much to offer in terms of preparing students for transfer and preparing students who maybe are not quite interested in transfer at this moment, but may decide later on to complete their studies. There are many opportunities for a student to be successful at El Camino College. So I'm glad that you were with us here today to hear from these two illustrious faculty members and welcome you to El Camino College and explore for yourself what we have to offer. Thank you.